Hello, and welcome to the Pastimes Media Series. Today I want to share with you Crazy Horse's personal account about the Battle of the Little Bighorn as it appeared in the Bismarck Tribune on June 11th, 1877. It is believed that this is the first published Indian narrative of the battle, and the article is as follows. The Custer Fight, an Indian version of the massacre from the lips of Crazy Horse himself. The village was attacked by a strong force at 11 o'clock in the morning at the upper end of the village. This was a force commanded by Major Reno, and very shortly afterward, the lower end of the village was attacked by another strong force, that commanded by Custer. The village was divided into 7 different bands of Indians, each commanded by a separate chief, and extended in nearly a straight line. The bands were in the order mentioned below, commencing from the lower end, where Custer made his attack. First, the Hunkpapas under Sitting Bull. Second, the Oglalas under Crazy Horse. Third, the Minneconjou under Fast Bull. Fourth, the Sans Arc under Red Bear. Fifth, the Cheyenne under Ice Bear. Sixth, the Santee and Yanktonais under Red Point of the Santee. Seventh, the Blackfeet under Scabby Head. The village consisted of 1,800 lodges and at least 400 wickiups, a lodge made of small poles and willows for a temporary shelter. Each of the wickiups contained 4 young bucks, and the estimate made by Crazy Horse is that each lodge had from 3 to 4 warriors. An estimate of the 3 made a fighting force of 7,000 Indians. This is the lowest estimate that can be made, for there were a good many Indians without shelter, hangers-on, who fought when called upon, and the usual number was much above 7,000. The attack was a surprise and totally unlooked for. When Custer made the charge, the women, papooses, children, and in fact all that were not fighters, made a stampede in a northerly direction. Custer, seeing so numerous a body, mistook them for the main body of Indians, retreating and abandoning their villages, and immediately gave pursuit. The warriors in the village, seeing this, divided their forces into 2 parts, one intercepting Custer between their non-combats and him, and the other getting in his rear. Outnumbering him as they did, they had him at their mercy, and the dreadful massacre ensued. Horned Horse says that the smoke and dust was so great that foe could not be distinguished from friend. The horses were wild with fright and uncontrollable. The Indians were knocking each other from their steeds, and it is an absolute fact that young bucks in their excitement and fury killed each other, several dead Indians being found killed by arrows. Horned Horse represented this hell of fire and smoke and death by interrunning his fingers and saying, "Just like this," the Indians and white men. These chiefs say that they suffered a loss of 58 killed and over 60 wounded. From their way of expressing it, I should judge that about 60% of their wounded died. While this butchery was going on, Reno was fighting in the upper part of the village, but did not get in so far as to get surrounded and managed to escape. They say had he got in as far as Custer, considering over half the village, could join the northern portion in besieging him, the Indians claim that but for the timely arrival of General Terry, they would have got Reno. They would have surrounded and stormed him out, or would have besieged him and eventually captured him. From what I know of Crazy Horse, I should say that he no doubt is capable of conducting such a siege. In both the Rosebud fight and the Custer massacre, the Indians claim he rode unarmed into the thickest of the fight, invoking the blessing of the Great Spirit on him. That if he was right, he might be victorious, and if he was wrong, that he might be killed. To get the complete article, I would encourage you to visit fortlincoln.com. This article appears in full in the Custer Fight, Crazy Horse's Testimony of the Seventh's Defeat, in the fall issue of the Pastimes, Volume 15, Number 3. For the Pastimes Media Series, I am Dakota.